Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where today we have a tactical preview. With this being Manchester United's first league game back, it's a very important game. Getting off with a start of 3 points would be very good for this United team, good for Ten Hag, so I thought today we would look at how they could go about doing that. Now, people will look at it and say, well, it's only Nottingham Forest, so it should be easy. There are no easy games in the Premier League, that's not how it works. So today I thought we would look at how Ten Hag can set his team up, some of the things he needs to concentrate on in order to beat this Nottingham Forest team. And the first thing he needs to get right is his starting 11. Now, in terms of the starting 11, there are a few little kind of selection headaches, because there are a couple of players that are potentially unavailable. One being Lisandro Martinez. He will not play at left centre-back, which means Lindelof will play. Right centre-back, I'm genuinely not sure if Varane will play. Obviously, there is the choice of Maguire, although he is kind of dealing with illness at the moment. And there is the choice of playing Casemiro centre-back with McTominay in midfield. But after watching the game in midweek and watching McTominay, how unavailable he is on the ball, I would like to think Varane will be able to play and Casemiro can keep his place in midfield. That would be much better for United. And then at right back, Dalot, again, not entirely sure if he's fit. If he's not, then I would be looking to bring Malacia in at right back. However, hopefully, Dalot will be fit. The rest of the team kind of picks itself, although Garnacho will be a shout from the bench, of course. In terms of Nottingham Forest, I'm not exactly sure on their starting 11, but it will look something like this. And they will start the game in a 4-3-3, however it will quickly change to a 4-5-1, and they are not a team that are going to press high up the pitch. They're not going to look to really put the centre-backs under any pressure. They will sit off in more of this kind of mid-block shape and let Manchester United have the ball. So the question is, what is United's best approach from there? What is the shape that they should be looking to use? Well, for me, the most important battle is going to be in the midfield, because there are weaknesses in this Nottingham Forest midfield, especially in the way that they track runners. So for me, it is important, more so than ever, I go on about it quite a lot, but more so than ever, Bruno Fernandes needs to be playing right half space as much as possible. He loves drifting over to a left-hand side, and at times it makes United very unbalanced, with everyone on the left side here. In this game, he really needs to be playing this right-hand channel role, with Eriksen pushing up into a left half space here, Casemiro holding as the solo pivot. Now, the first thing that this does is it means that Manchester United potentially have the ability to create an overload. If Morgan Gibbs-White isn't getting in goal side, then United can create an overload with Casemiro, Fernandes and Eriksen and Martial dropping deep up against the midfield 3 of Nottingham Forest. We can see that this could create a 4 versus 3 up against the midfield. So that is one way that United could have some success, because if you can get Casemiro with time on the ball, that's a very good thing. He can play from there. However, Forest are unlikely to let United do that, because what they will often do is drop their striker kind of goal side of the holding midfielder. And this then means Mangala can sit deeper on Martial, and now it's 4 versus 4. So Manchester United need to find a way to get Casemiro on the ball. If you watched the Nottingham Forest versus Arsenal game in late October, I believe it was, something that they looked to do was get their striker on Thomas Partey to stop him really dictating and taking control of the game, because they know how important he is to that Arsenal team. It's very similar with Casemiro at Manchester United, so I think the Nottingham Forest will look to do something similar. So the question for United is, how can they get Casemiro on the ball? Well, the most simple way is to drop him deeper in between the centre-backs, and then maybe move Eriksen inside, push the full-backs up, and go to a bit of a 3-1-6. That is one way to do it, because Morgan Gibbs-White physically can't press all these 3 centre-backs by himself. So that is one way that United could look to take control of this game, with the 3 here. Eriksen kind of roaming in this area, still got Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford in these half spaces, and that gives United still this 4 in midfield here, but also it now gives Casemiro, Lindelof and Varane time on the ball, and Casemiro with time on the ball is a dangerous player, and getting Rashford in these spaces is dangerous. Fernandes in these spaces is dangerous. However, I'm not sure that this is the approach United will go with, and instead I think the fullbacks will be a little bit deeper, especially Dalot on this side. I think instead what the strategy will be is to occasionally push one of the centre-backs a little bit higher, because if Lindelof has the ball here and chooses to step forward, naturally Gibbs-White likes to go across and cover it. We saw it for, again, that Arsenal game. Whilst they were looking to mark Partey, if a centre-back was stepping up, they looked to then go press that player. This then does make Casemiro the free man, and for me that is the way that United should approach this little situation. Push one of the centre-backs a little bit higher. It will draw Gibbs-White out and give Casemiro time on the ball from where he can dictate. If Casemiro is able to dictate, then Manchester United will have control on this game, so the question is how they play from there. On the left-hand side, Luke Shaw is going to push forward. He nearly always does, which means Rashford will be given a licence to come inside. Eriksen will have a bit of freedom, sometimes dropping deep to get the ball in his deeper areas, sometimes moving into the half space. Again, something which I think will be important. Bruno Fernandes in this right space here, please and thank you, and then Antony holding the width on the right hand side. And the reason I think this is so important, particularly this Bruno Fernandes and Antony link up, is because there is a Nottingham Forest weakness over here. So I often talk about using width. I think that's the first thing United need to do against a low block, really hold the width with Shaw and Antony on either side. What this does is Forest will want to defend in quite a compact narrow shape like this, which means that if Casemiro is dictating the play, he will always have a passing option, either out to the left hand side to Luke Shaw or to the right hand side to Antony. Particularly if United are able to do it to the right side to Antony, you can get at this Forest team, because what it does is it draws the fullback out here, and then Forest are not very good at marking this half space here. So if Bruno Fernandes is then able to make runs in behind, it's going to do a couple of things. It's either going to drag Lodi, which then gives Antony time to come inside onto his left foot, from where we know he can be very, very dangerous, either with crosses into the box or shots at goal. Or what it will do, if Lodi doesn't track that run, is it gives Antony a simple pass in behind the defence, and then United can get into zones where they can get cutbacks. Kind of like the sort of area where Wan-Bissaka cut the ball across for Eriksen the other night. That is the sort of area that United would like to get into, I think. Ten Hag has always liked his teams playing with cutbacks. This is a way that United can do it. Down the left-hand side, I think United will have less success with this, just because Yates is much better at tracking that run. So if the ball does go wide left and Aurier kind of comes out a little bit, Yates is much better at tracking into this area. So I do think United would have less success with it down this side of the pitch. However, down the right-hand side, if you can get Bruno Fernandes into this position and get him to actually stick to this right half space rather than drifting to the left, I think United can really hurt this Forest team. Other players that are going to be able to hurt this Forest team, of course, Marcus Rashford. We all know the form he's in at the moment. Form of his life, really sparkling, playing with a lot of confidence, a lot of flair, and I say it a lot, Marcus Rashford, on form and confident, is one of the most dangerous players on the planet. I don't know how you deal with him personally. Now, what Forest will look to do is kind of force him into these areas, force him narrow, and then get players like Yates around him, which is why it's important that Eriksen is nearby, providing support. Also, the link up with Luke Shaw will be important, something which they tend to do pretty well, Rashford and Shaw. I always like watching their little partnership. But also, Martial needs to be given that option to Rashford as well, because Rashford at times can kind of get himself into kind of, he goes down an alley a bit and then gets stuck. So it's important that Martial, Luke Shaw, Christian Eriksen are able to get round him, give him that option. And what United need to do in this game, as you need to do against any sort of like low blocking system really, is keep moving the ball, be patient, move the ball with intensity. They don't want to get caught just constantly trying to dribble their man in central areas. They need to keep the ball moving, play with intensity. The width is going to be very important. Forest like to defend in a really narrow, compact shape. So having Antony and Luke Shaw out wide is going to drag them out, which is not what Forest want to do. And then after that, some bravery on the ball is going to be important, especially from Antony. I would really like to see him trying to get at Lodi. I don't think Lodi is the best 1-versus-1 defender in the world. I think Antony could really get at him. And especially if he's going to be helped with either underlapping runs from Dalot or Bruno Fernandes, or being given the license to come inside if Bruno Fernandes is dragging Lodi back. I think that is an area where United could have some success. Again, we saw it from Arsenal against Forest, where Saka was kind of making this run inside, and then playing little reverse passes into this space for Jesus to run onto. Martial needs to be doing the same sort of thing. In terms of Martial's role in general in the game, this might be a game where he struggles to really drop deep into these areas and get the ball, just because of Mangala, Yates, Freuler, but also Gibbs-White all kind of being there. So Martial might struggle in that sense. However, if United are able to get into a lead and the game opens up a bit, then I'm sure he will be very important on the counter-attack. I think we all know now that United are one of the most dangerous teams in the world when they have the lead, because it forces the other team to come out and play. And if Forest do that and start trying to play football, take control of the ball, and Manchester United are able to win it in these areas with Casemiro, then they can quickly spring forward, and we know that Martial is going to be dragging these centre-backs, whether it's Worrell on this side or Bolly on this side, dropping into these areas trying to get the ball, but dragging these players out, and then creating space for someone else like Marcus Rashford. And again, this is where Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes will be important, with their quality but also their timing of pass to release these forwards. You don't want to get players offside too much. Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes, I think, really are important to this particular match. I think they're important anyway. I think they set the tempo for United. But I think Bruno Fernandes, the ability to get into this right half space will be really important. But also, if United do get themselves into a position where they're in the lead, Eriksen then setting the team on the counter-attack with quick passes forward, getting that space in behind for Marcus Rashford could be really, really dangerous. And as a Manchester United fan, I am quite confident coming into this game. In terms of what Ten Hag will want, I think he will want the ball to be moved at speed. I think he will want his players to be intense. They looked pretty good in the cup game against Burnley in midweek. I thought it was an impressive performance. He will want another level of that though. Yes, it was good, but he will want the standard to increase further. I do think United can really hurt this Forest team though. And it's a game that I'm actually quite looking forward to. It will be good to have the Premier League football back. We all love the Premier League. The World Cup was great, but the Premier League is just something different. It's seeing the same players week in, week out. And I'm quite confident that Manchester United will have a good performance. I'm reasonably confident of the win, but let's wait and see. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. How confident are you? But also, how do you think United should go about this game? Is the width going to be important? Is the personnel going to be important? So should someone like Garnacho be brought into the team? Should Rashford play up front instead of Martial? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed the video. And as always, I will see you in the next one.